So whenever I bought the J3 that I have, I bought it from Linda Lasky. If you've watched some of the other stories, you know, he's a mentor and a longtime friend of mine. And he had the airplane down at Cranberry, and he'd sold it to me, and it was annual down there. And so I hitched a ride with him, I believe. He had actually moved back to Littlefield, Texas to start flying a Citation for a grocery store chain. And he'd actually been back to West Texas for a few months, and then I bought the J3 from him. So we went down there and got it, or went down there to get it. And it was a spring morning. So it's, you know, the high is going to be about 55 degrees all day, but a nice sunny day. And so, you know, I mean, I put a light jacket on and jeans and things on, and cap, you know, just to stay warm. And because, you know, it's a Cub, you know, it's not warm to fly, but it does have doors, and close it up and you're good. So we get down there early in the morning. It's actually about 45 degrees down there. And get in it, and Lyndall props it off. And I mean, just as soon as it started running, you know, I was like, man, that's cold. And so I reached down and grabbed the bottom door to pull it up, and reached up to grab the top door, and it's not there. And I'll never forget Lyndall looking at me, airplanes running and everything. He's like, it's in Littlefield. So he had already moved the door and forgotten about it. And then here I am. Oh my gosh. I froze to death that first leg. And then I cannot remember where this happened at. It was somewhere between Lubbock, Texas and Granbury. I stopped for fuel, and I stopped right at noon. Or it was like, yeah, it was like noon, 12 o'clock. So I stop at this little airport to get gas, and pull up to the pump, and the pump says, for fuel, call city manager. And I was like, okay. And it's noon, and he's a city manager, and I'm like, I don't have time for this. And you know, it's going to get dark. There's no lights on the airplane, so I need to keep moving. And so I called the guy, and I said, hey, you know, I'm out here. I need gas, and so I'm taking this airplane cross country. I need to get it home, and it needs you to, if you can come out and fill me up, I'd appreciate it. And you could tell you could tell by his voice, he was headed to lunch, you know. And he's like, well, you know, I'm headed to lunch. He's like, well, how much gas do you need? Now, if you know anything about a Cub, that's probably a problem. If I tell him I need 12 gallons, I'm guessing he's going to show up in an hour or two when he gets dang good and ready to show up. So I tell him, I was like, you know, I said, it's completely out of gas. And he said, so you need a full load. And that's exactly how he said it. He said, you need a full load. And I said, yep, I need a full load. And I thought, man, this guy's going to show up out here, see this little bitty kite, and he's going to be pissed. And he pulls up in his pickup, like within literally 3 or 4 minutes, he's there. Pulls up in his pickup, and he gets out and walks over, starts talking to me. He hasn't even noticed how big the airplane is. And I take that little cap off, and he's got a nozzle that big, it barely fits in there, and he sticks it in there and just starts blowing that fuel in there. And I'm like, holy freaking cow. So I start backing up, and of course, that quick, just here it comes blowing out of the top of it. And he's like, he backs up, and he looks at me, I'm so sorry. What happened? I was like, I looked at the meter, and it said 12 gallons. I'm like, 12 gallons is full. He was like, that's all you needed? And I was like, yeah, it's completely empty. That's all she holds. So he was not happy. But I got my fuel that day, and I got home.